I'd like to call to order the Yreka City Council meeting. All rise and say in the Pledge of Allegiance. That's over here now. Let's see how long it takes everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And republic for which it stands.
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
For all.
The delay. Yeah. Shouldn't have said anything. See how many people would have looked at the corner.
Creatures of habit.
All righty. Would everybody please silence their cell phones so we don't get interrupted? Okay. This is a time for public comments. Citizens participating is welcome to and invited at the city council meeting. I should have read this ahead of time. Time is reserved to each regular meeting for those in the audience to wish to address the city council. The city requests that the persons addressing the city council refrain from making personal, slanderous, profane, or destructive remarks. Public comment is not intended to be a question and answer period or conversations with the council or city staff. Council members, when recognized by the mayor, may ask questions of the presenter, but no action may be taken by the city council during the public comment section of this meeting. Under the Brown Act, the city council is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not listed or posted on the agenda. So this is a time for public comments. And if you do, please speak from the podium and state your name and address if you do so wish to. Anybody? Move on to action number 4, which is a consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine, non-controversial, and will be enacted by one motion unless the member of the council wishes to remove an item for discussion. A, approval, ratification of payments issued from December 22nd, 2021 through February 20th, 2022. B, cash and fiscal reports. I, cash report, balance reports, December 2021, quarterly treasurer investments report, second quarter fiscal year 2021-2022, budget of revenue and expenditures with year-to-date actuals December 31st, 2021, fiscal performance report of December 31st, 2021, approval of minutes of the regular meeting held on February 15th, 2022, continuation of urgency ordinance number 864, continuation of urgency ordinance or resolution number 2021-51 remote public meetings, and finally F, waive full text readings of ordinance on agenda. Ordinance shall be introduced and adopted by title only. Now, since I got all that out, is there any discussion on this from the council?
No.
Joan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. No questions. Thank you.
I'm going to ask quickly the audience real quick, even though it wasn't on this to ask that, but is there any questions from the audience at this point in time or anybody on Zoom? Okay, I will bring it back now to the council. Council, what is the wishes?
Councilman McCoy, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Okay,
Councilmember Debbie Baird, I will second.
all righty, great. We have a motion and a second there. We will move on to roll call. Joan Smith Freeman,
Aye.
Paul McCoy,
Aye.
Corey Middleton.
Aye.
Debbie Baird.
Aye.
And Dwayne Keg, aye. Now we'll move on to number 5, old business, discussion, possible action, public works, South Foothill, Brownsfield site cleanup. And this is Matt.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So this item is, again, in regards to the soil removal project contract. The last time council saw this was under, I think in October 5th. And at that time, the staff was pushing out the RFP for a professional services agreement. Since then, legal counsel advises that we pull that back in and put it back out as a public works for construction, full construction bid docs. So I'm bringing this, I think we're going to tag team this with Jason tonight. That just as a reminder that the $130,000 remediation project, which is the soil removal, the lead laden dirt that's on the site, that 130 doesn't include the labor for material backfill or build out of the campsite. And then the question we've spoken over once before, I believe in September, the paving over the site. The costs of that include engineered stormwater best management practices. So if we were to pave the site, that also would require a detention basin for the stormwater to ebb back down into the aquifers. So that takes up some usable space on the property. And the cost of that was $112,500 estimated for the grading and drainage type of project for that. Again, does not include the build out of the site. So I'm just bringing to you, I guess, Jason, if you wanted to dive in here before I close it out.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, Jason Ledbetter, City Manager. So tonight we have really three options for you guys to move forward with an RFP with the Public Works contract for the soil abatement or remediation. The other opportunity was the asphalt. And then finally pausing this project if for some reason based off the PLHA information that was brought forward and our ideas that we were going to kind of have Beacon of Hope operate with that grant money, finding out that they're not interested in kind of abiding by grant terms. So we're coming to you with those three options and looking for direction.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you, Matt. Do you have anything else to add to that, Matt?
No.
Okay. I'm going to open it up for council for discussion, then I'll open it up to the audience. So council, what is comments and concerns and what is opinions on that? I'll start with around the table here. Anybody?
I have nothing to comment.
I guess my only concern would be now that we know Beacon of Hope is not going to participate with the grant, that's a major concern to me about moving forward, but yeah, that's my concern is a major one that they're not going to want to participate with the rules of the grant and
Yeah.
how to obey by it. So that is a blow to us.
And so just keep
So
in
to say.
mind, like I said, it is just that grant that they're
Right.
not interested in.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not,
I know that.
it's not that they're not necessarily willing to help us for future. It's that they don't want to with that grant in mind.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I just wanted to clear that up. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, I know. It's just still
Yeah, it,
would have been nice for them to
I know. Yeah, you're
step up to
right.
the plate on that.
You're right. And I guess, like I said, that one of the things that we got to discuss here is what we want to do with this. I'll just weigh in. I'm sorry. I'll weigh in real quick and comment wise is I think no matter what, we need to think about doing something with this property because now it's one of those situations that it has been identified, as some type of contaminants in the soil. So cleaning it up, no matter what we do with this property, we pretty much got to clean it up at this point, I would say. That's my own opinion on that. So, Debbie, you got a comment?
Yes, actually, we have to clean it up regardless of whether we keep it and use it or put it back on the market to sell. It has to be cleaned up. So I am good with putting the RFP out again. And then if we can find at a later date, someone to assist with if we continue to turn it into an urban campsite, that would be my goal.
And I think
I can
hopefully we can get, Jason and I are going to the COC meeting tomorrow, and that's a part of this is have future discussions on long-term, what the county can do for us too. That's one of the big pushes I know everybody wants to hear is that the county working with us in conjunction to it, not us just taking it all on ourselves, So I think I absolutely right. I think we need to clean it up. You know what? I really do.
And it's the least expensive.
Yeah. Joan Smith Freeman.
Thank you. Corey and Debbie voiced my concerns as well. I'm glad to hear that it's going to be an item of discussion at the COC homelessness meeting tomorrow. I believe that in order to go forward, homelessness funding comes down through the county, as we know, not through the city. And so I think that in order to go forward with this project, we need to make certain that we have a strong partnership with the county. And so I'm looking forward to hearing what happens at your meeting tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have a plan to go forward from there.
Yep, right. So getting back to that, Joan, And I'd like to hear from the rest of council too. I think Debbie and I have stated that we want to see it cleaned up. Do you
Right.
want
right.
to go ahead and move forward cleaning it up, or you just want to stall it completely?
Well, I think we have to clean it up.
Yeah.
We got a grant from, who was the grant from? We got a grant that showed us that there was lead on the property, right? And so there's lead from what, 6 inches to a foot in the property. And I believe that we made a commitment to clean that up. So I think that we have to go forward with that. Now, I know that there's funding available for the cleanup. We have to reapply because the original grant was only for testing.
Right.
Now we have to apply to EPA. It was the EPA grant. So the Environmental Protection Agency, we actually have to apply for that grant for the cleanup.
Yep. Okay, great. Thanks, Joan. I'm going to go back around to Paul, Mr. McCoy.
Well, what's the timeline on the grant for funding?
No idea.
At this point, we're not aware of that timeline. I think we're looking for, of the 3 options, part of pausing it would be to then seek funding, knowing that we needed to clean it up at some point with a brownfield grant. Whether or not this location would be applicable to the grant, we're not sure at this moment, but if you guys had already decided to set money aside for this project, then we could also move forward with an RFP just to get this location cleaned up as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ledbetter. I am concerned that we're bogging this issue down. We've been trying to get this issue, it's Councilman McCoy, we've been trying to get this issue settled and through now for 2.5 years. It's a hot button issue within the community, just homeless in and of itself, and I understand that. And I would expect it to be. My concern is that if we continue to drag our feet, it could be 4 or 5 years before we get anything done. And that's not acceptable to me. The piece of land is a good land piece for what we're looking to do on it. I think the idea of putting a collection basin is just ludicrous when we're not trying to make a permanent. I know we've talked about everything. We're permanent cover, structure. And it's something that when we went into this and went into the grant, we knew, we talked about it in city council chambers that it could be as high as $250,000, we thought, and that we would have to find money to pay for it. So I really think we need to go ahead with it. I think we need to get an RFP out ASAP. And I think we need to get a little pushy on this because, it needs to get done. And it's a minor amount of money when you're talking about a brownfield cleanup. We're not ARCO, we're not Chevron, we're not cleaning up billions of dollars. So I would like to see it move through, get it cleaned up, get dirt back in there. And then we start moving through with the urban campground, and I'll yield the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Milton.
Yeah. I think we should move forward with the cleanup and hopefully move forward with what we have planned. But if that, our funding is looking, hopefully things fall into place by that time, but our funding is looking scarce on our budget. And so we're gonna have to evaluate if we have the funds to move forward at that time. But I think moving forward to get it cleaned up, and whether the property goes on the market, we move forward with the urban campsite, but we do need to, I think, need to do the RFP and get the property cleaned up. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Corey. All right, well, I'm going to open this up now to the members of the audience and public. Is there some public comments on this particular item, even though we've talked about it before?
Steve Radford, 409 Evergreen. Grants seem to be the only word out there these days. In my day, we did not even know the word grant. And now that's all we hear is grants. It just doesn't compute. There's stipulations always tied to grants. Or the state, Joan said that the county gives the cities the money for the homelessness. Well, the money comes from the state. And the state is corrupt. The state wants to control every county, every city in California. I wish you guys would grow some backbone and look at the situation, how serious this really is in California. I have a great fear that, there's a lot of Chinese people moving here and they, rightfully need to get out of China. And they're
Steve,
good.
Steve, I hate to interrupt you, but we need to keep to the topic.
I am talking to the topic.
This
Don't
is about
interrupt
the
me.
clean-
This
the
is my
cleanup
time to
removal.
speak. I'm really had it with you. I've tried to apply twice now for the planning commission and you haven't even given me a word on that.
There's only.
You
you've
can't even
only applied
respect
once,
me
and
enough
that's
to give me a word on that,
Mr.
Okay?
Mr. Radford, we're
So,
discussing the
I'm
cleanup.
talking about grants. I'm talking about the people coming here and controlling our county, our city through unconstitutional ways of controlling our private lives, our freedom. And those are grants.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
May I address that? I want to make clear that I'm not talking about it. I understand that I asked Council Member Smith Freeman about a grant and I asked you about the timeline, but that's not what what we're looking at.
No.
We're looking at trying to get it done ASAP. And no, never, no.
The city doesn't have the money for this ASAP thing.
We're gonna have to ask you to
But that's.
come to
what I-
the podium to speak, Mr. Redford.
Okay, is there any other public comments up to this podium, please? If there's any other public comments?
It's pretty sad when we can't even afford to keep the weeds out of the streets or the potholes everywhere. We got a lot of basic things to do. This property, sure, I love to see properties cleaned up. And a lot of things have been happening. Homeowners are cleaning their properties up. You guys and the county, had this thing come down about cleaning up all the junk cars and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the city is looking better. Somehow people are taking better care of their properties. It looks better than when I moved here 12 years ago, as far as I'm concerned. But to spend money on something out there, outside the city that we don't visually see, the tourists don't see, is something that maybe we put on the back burner. Right now, we got right here the visual happening. I was sitting in front of Zephyrs the other day, Monday morning. 2 people came off the freeway because of the apps, I guess. They saw Efforts Coffee Shop Bakery. They came in, they were from out of town. It was great. I approached them. I said, "Where are you from?" And well, 2 people actually just moved here from back east. Anyway, as far as, doing stuff out that side of town where it's not visual, when the weeds are growing right in our streets all the time, and the sidewalks and the potholes everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I make one, can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Jason, if I may ask, how many times has this will be the 3rd time the RFP goes out, correct?
I'm only aware that this would be the second, but Mr. Bray, are you aware?
This would be the second time that we've put it out to actually
Second
get
time?
someone out
And
there
have we
to.
put a
come in and
cap on
clean
it?
up. The budget appropriation from September of 21 was 125,000. And the response that we received from the RFP that went out was 130. Now, so there was, and Yreka can correct me, in the budget narrative of this budget, there was money earmarked for the urban campsite. I'll double check that number because I think it's about 130.
Yeah.
But I'll double check that for you. We can get back to you, maybe an email through the city manager.
And just to
110. So-
clarify too, starting the RFP process, the actual contract documents will come back to this council at that time to be voted upon as well. So
Okay, where I'm going with this is that that's up there. 6 digits is a lot to me, and it doesn't include the fill. So it's going to be more expensive and a way to circumvent the fill. The flood hazard reduction program, when they do the clean out for the beds for the flood Could that soil be used over there at a lesser cost?
That is a possibility.
Okay.
I think we could probably get soil pretty,
I don't think. so.
pretty
I think
readily
you're looking at
available
about $6,000
for
for
compacting
that,
soil of any sort, yeah.
We've been
There's-
offered soil from Fairchild for the parking lots. We've been offered soil from the new credit union. We've been offered soil from various things around. It's just a matter of, we have to get it dug out before we can put soil in it.
Yeah, as long as it's
So
clean
is
soil.
that something that the city staff at Public Works can do, or is that necessary to hire out for another?
It depends on,
RFP?
we'd run up a cost of it because we're bound as Public Works Maintenance Division. Anything over $5,000, we're supposed to put out to RFP and have contracted, bids and all that. So we can work that up for you. I just did want to stress that there's the 110 in the budget narrative that you passed within the general fund as it stands, that's there and available. So we would just be looking to backfill the rest,
Right.
whatever the rest is. We know that the last folks quoted us 130. It's probably really close.
Thank you.
Well, at this point in time too, getting the soil removed, we don't have to backfill it right away either. We can try to figure out what that means for the future. If we have a partnership, if we have somebody, whatever that may look like, you know what I'm saying, to where we don't have to immediately backfill it, correct?
We'll have to take a look. I'm sure there's some on-site, just off the
Hazards.
napkin grading that we can do to make sure that doesn't create any flood issues.
Flood
but
issues, yeah.
It will have to be
Backfilled
graded
eventually, yeah.
back to an area that it's not creating issues to the neighbors for sure.
Right.
And we
Right.
would, as a government entity, we would follow the same rules we would require from a private,
Right.
correct?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So
That's
these
it.
would be federal regs, not city or state, right? Anyway, it's gonna be federal regs
It could be on the hazmat removal,
if it's EPA.
right? When we get to that point.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we're not gonna follow our own regs. They're gonna be stricter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other councilman comments? Anybody have any, or public? I didn't really close it down for the public. Any other public comments at this point in time? If not, I'll bring it back to the council. Okay, council. What is wishes of the council? What's any more discussion, or what do we want to do? Any,
I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and put it back out, to bid. We've been sitting on this for 2.5 years. The longer we sit on it, the more expensive it gets. The longer we sit on it, the less control we have of how we can keep our homeless safe. And I just think it's very short-sighted for us to let it go and just let it keep going on and on and on and on. And it is a step-by-step process. Little did, that I think when we purchased this, that we'd be 2 years later or 2.5 years later, still working on just getting dirt out. I mean, shame on me for thinking government would move fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So I make the motion.
Council Middleton, I will second.
okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll do roll call. Joan Smith Freeman. Unmute yourself.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Paul McCoy,
Aye.
Corey Middleton.
Aye.
Debbie Baird.
Bye.
And I, Dwayne Kay. All right, we'll move on. We are now, so it must be Matt, since he's standing up there still. Discussion possible action, Public Works redirection of the current park budget lines items offset the rental cost of the portable toilet units.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, good evening. As you recall, back in September of 21, you appropriated $10,000 for the fiscal year 21-22 to pay for the rental costs of portable toilet units in various areas around town to help combat the issues on not only our properties, but private properties around the parks that were being utilized for reasons that they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
So just to break it down quick, it's running exactly $466.82 a month for what we have out there on the ground right now. They're set, they're cleaned once a week, and that's been working so far. And so far, we've spent $2,892 for 6 months. So we rounded that up a little bit. Looking forward. And so I went through our budgets of the parks, and within that, we have a line item you've seen in our budgets called playground equipment / fall protection. There's $10,000 budgeted in that line annually for when slides crack and break, and those are $8,000 a piece. We call it ADA bark because the bark that we put for fall protection beneath the slides and all of that is it's an engineered bark that stops bones from breaking. And so that 10,000 is budgeted to refresh the bark in all of the playgrounds park wide and fix the oddballs that get broken at the park, slides and swings and such. That's one line item. The next line item I looked at is for topsoil. We have $6,000 budgeted in the topsoil line this year. We do this as an annual budget that we do. That provides us the funding to top dress the lawns to where we add topsoil to the existing lawn. It dumps a bunch of nitrogen in there. We get the top dressing soil from the Shasta Forest products. So we couple that with all of our standard annual maintenance of dethatching, aerating, and grass cycling to where we mulch everything back. We no longer remove the grass. We make one big cut in the springtime when it's too tall to leave it, and then we cut it and mulch it back with our mulch blades. So we cut our fertilizer years ago doing that grass cycling. The third item I found was the fertilizer. There's $2,000 budgeted there, and because of our grass cycling efforts, and we were really on par to get our lawns healthier before the droughts hit us. And so we've only been utilizing that for contract work to target dandelion outbreaks. So Minor Street Park is horrible for dandelion outbreaks. If we don't catch them, they spread to other parks on the wheels of our mowers and that kind of thing. So very sporadically go through and target those dandelions with that application. It just so happens that we're looking at the fiscal impact of this rounded up from the 466 in case the prices go up a little bit this year. We'd be looking at a budgetary need for 21-22 of $2,000 and fiscal year 22-23 of $6,000. So it's just pure coincidence that I found you a $6,000 and a $2,000 budget line. It's just how it fell out. But those are the three to discuss. I'm looking for direction on which one to utilize because there is no funding currently budgeted for the rental porta potties.
So question, Mr. Bray, I think Jason might have asked you this already, is the utilization of those porta potties, are they all being utilized?
We're told by the haulers that they are all being regularly utilized.
Okay, that was my main question,
Yeah.
because I know a couple of them definitely are getting utilized quite frequently. I didn't know on some of the other ones too.
Yeah.
I know we have a certain amount of cleanup going on, and this is what I wanted to discuss with the council too on the situation. We have two of them basically at Lower Greenhorn area. We have one at the monument there, next to COS on the north side of COS there.
The Bo
next
Hitson
to-
Monument,
What's that?
the Bo Hitson Monument.
Correct, yes. In that area, that's we'll call it the Bo Hitson area memorial. And then the other one is on the south side of COS, across the street from behavioral health. Currently, the one being on the Bo Hitson side is not getting utilized as frequently, I know for a fact, as definitely as frequently as the other one. So I'm just bringing that up for the council just to be aware of. I know that personally because I'm there all the time. So I know that one's not getting utilized as much. And Willow's been doing an excellent job of keeping these individuals in line and keeping their camps cleaned up, as you know, and she's doing a great job on enforcing that and keeping them clean. So in the process, a couple of those trailers have moved that was on the Bo Hitson side. And so that one's not getting utilized as much, but I just want to bring that up. I know the one over there off of Oberlin Road at the Greenway over there, it gets utilized, but it's obviously not as convenient because it's right there at the parking lot, but I think that's probably the best place for it is at the parking lot. So people can park there, and even general public, if we get people to go there, would be able to utilize that bathroom too. So And then obviously right now, the one at the north end of town at the Deer Creek Greenway part of it, that one obviously gets utilized quite a bit too because of the inhabitants there too. So I just thought I'd throw that out, you guys, and I just wanted to know, like what Matt stated, that the outfit that does the cleaning on them says that they're all getting utilized. Percentage wise, we probably can't really track that down as far as how much they're going to utilize. That's pretty tough for them to do. And we can't really ask them to give us disclose how many gallons by no means. So don't want to go there. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that up to the council. So next step would be for us to decide where we, like what Matt says, where we want to take this out. So I'm opening up this for comments for the council at this point in time. Start
Or
that in.
Joan, or Joan.
Or Joan. Jones, go ahead. You're on live.
So for clarification, what is it that you're asking? That we go forward with a transfer, that we reduce the number of porta potties? What was the question?
So the question is, which one of the three line items would you like us to utilize the funding of? It's all general fund funding because it's the park.
Right.
I might be able to clarify a little bit. I don't anticipate directing the application of topsoil or fertilizer this year. Dandelions are always you don't know, but with the current drought restrictions and the drought restrictions to come, we will be browning out the park's lawns again this summer. So the public needs to
I hate that. I hate it.
So for us to dump, and it's partially the reason I picked the topsoil, for us to apply this much nitrogen to a lawn that we're really not going to water that much could be extremely harmful.
Kill it.
We really want to water that stuff and pound it in if we do it. So these are my two gives that they make more sense. They all make sense. It's just if we lose a slide from number one, if a slide at Minor Street Park breaks, we won't be able to replace it. If we need to add bark somewhere else, we won't be able to replace that. So the ask is, which line items would council prefer to utilize instead of the listed items for the porta potties?
So you have any more questions on that?
No, I'd say none of the above. I don't know. I mean, if it would burn the grass and you're not going to, I just hate the thought of not watering our beautiful parks, because our parks are something that our citizens utilize daily. And I hate for them to turn brown and die and be ugly. So I don't like that. And as far as taking, not being able to fix a slide, I know there was one at Ringy Park that was broken recently. That's, I think, now being fixed. So, taking the money out so that the children won't have a slide, I don't like that option either. So I'm interested to hear what the rest of the council thinks.
So can I ask another question too, Matt? Couple things. Now since we're on the other side of winter, I mean, yeah, we just got through that cold spell. I get that and everything. What is the option of opening up the one at Deer Creek? The bathrooms are at Deer Creek on a daily basis on that one.
Those
I know they're closed down right now.
Right. Those will be opened as weather allows.
So if it looks like we got consistent warmer weather, then that can be opened up.
Correct. We
Why-
typically open all of the extra park restrooms. So when you think about Greenhorn, upper and lower Greenhorn, we've been for years keeping the center stall open over winter and then opening the sides.
Right.
We do that there and we do that at Minor. We only open the old one at Minor for the Easter egg hunt and events like the concerts in the park when those used to happen. Deer Creek opens at the same time. We make a run around and winter. We put them to bed for winter. So we winterize everything. We go back through and take all that out, fire them back up when the weather's going to be holding and not have these freezing nights that'll cause us damage and additional money to fix it from freeze breaks.
Yeah.
So it will be opening. We typically fire off the irrigation around April and start doing leak checks. That takes 2 to 3, 4 weeks to get all the leak checks done on the irrigation systems themselves and the bathrooms and get everything up to speed. So
So here's my other question, and this is for everybody and for budget actually wise. Do we have to absolutely make this decision tonight? Secondly, because I'm saying that is because if we also could start teaming up with the county on some of these issues, then maybe they can be responsible for some of this stuff too and take some of the burden off of us and say, hey, you know what, this is, especially when one of the porta potties is directly across the street from the behavioral health anyways, and something that they need to be thinking about doing, not just putting the burden on us. And maybe they can take care of that whole thing and take us out of this whole issue. So that's, I guess my question is, can this be postponed from putting it on the budget for right now?
Well,
That might be a
council approved the supplemental appropriation back in September of 10,000 for fiscal year 21-22.
Right.
So we have until the end of that.
Okay.
We still have that appropriation you've already made.
I feel my own personal opinion. I feel that we shouldn't make this decision. I don't want to take it from our parks. I think that's bull. I don't think we should take it away from playground equipment. I don't want to take a chance of taking that money from fertilizer that we may be able to utilize if weather starts getting better. I think it should be, we should hold off until we get some more information and just keep doing what we're doing. My feeling is we need to pull the one porta potty out from the memorial there. I don't think that we need that one. They have the other one over there by behavioral health. It can be utilized. It gets cleaned out regularly. It's never been full. I've checked it myself numerous times on that one. I haven't checked the other ones, but that one I've checked, we've gone by and actually checked, and it gets cleaned out on a regular basis and done a really good job on that. Really got to thank them for that. But that's my own opinion. So I'd like to hear from the rest of council on that.
Everybody at once.
Oh, huh?
So not everybody at once.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
Debbie, please.
Okay, so Retta's standing to say something I'd like to hear in case she hasn't answered before I come up with a suggestion. And our fiscal year ends June 30th.
Right, so this is kind of confusing when it was first brought by public, excuse me, when this was first brought to Public Works to y'all in September, was that you wanted it brought back to you after 6 months to
Right,
kind of know where things stood. So at that meeting, you did appropriate it with the caveat, check in with us in 6 months
Perfect.
where things are. And I think that's what Public Works is coming forward with. You did do the supplemental appropriation, but also Public Works is saying, hey, these are some areas and looking at our budget, which I applaud them, is, you know, kind of like this or that, or we can move things on. Usually departments do have line item discretion within their budget as situations change throughout the year historically on that. But this is kind of that check-in that you requested when it was brought to you in September to say, you know, in all optimism, we thought the brownfields might have been cleaned up and things have been a little different. So anyway, that's why they're circling back to you, kind of reviewing that. So, but on the budget, does that help clarify?
Yeah, no, it does. Thank you,
Okay.
Red. I appreciate that. Yeah, and we actually did want it brought back to us so we can readdress it. And I guess that's what we're doing now, so.
So that we could table it until maybe May, and
That's-
that gives you time to discuss.
I would really like to explore some other avenues on how to move forward. Obviously, it's already there. We're already doing it. I still feel that we should eliminate the one porta potty myself. We've already allotted that money, so I mean, it's there. So either way, but I think we should have future discussions on this now instead of making a firm decision on taking it out of something that I don't think, I'm as myself, I could say I don't want to see it coming out of any parks or anything else if we don't have to. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm open for suggestions. I want everybody to.
Table it until May. Table it until May.
I would rather,
Put it back on the agenda.
I would respectfully, I want to thank Matt for
Yes.
coming because we did ask for this. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I also want to thank Matt, just knowing what I had to go through in education that you do have to go through in line item. Sometimes, you know, they would say, oh, you can't have this in your, you know, we need money to pay for this at the school or whatever, and so we got to take it from somewhere. I think my concern is if we put this off for $6,000 right now, what else, I mean, respectfully speaking, what else are we gonna push off? And, you know, I know that it's not, I know that August and September and part of July, our lawns are gonna be dead. We just know that because the governor has ordered more cutbacks because Southern California did not, and by Southern California, I mean Redding South, didn't get enough savings on water. The smaller counties like us did, but the larger counties, population-wise, did not. You know, if we we've cut way back on play equipment since I moved here in '86. That's not anybody's fault except the attorneys. Because again, we have a Congress that refuses to address tort reform. So as long as people can sue cities for big money, they're going to continue to do it. You remember Minor Street Park had a beautiful, you know, set of slides and everything. So I don't want to, we need more playground equipment. I'll agree with you there, but we're not voting on it tonight.
No.
It's not on our agenda. It's not on our master plan. So I don't want to use that as a you know, I don't want to use that as an excuse. I think it would be very easy, in my opinion, to do a topsoil for a year if we choose to keep these bathrooms. It sounds like right now we don't even know whether we want to keep them or not. We may want to get rid of a few. We may want to get rid of more. I will say that they are cheaper than, like, for instance, if we had to build a new bathroom at Minor Street at the park, it's probably going to be 100 to 150,000. I mean, with everything we have to do, you know, so we're finding that out with a pool. So I hesitate to just push it down the road when it's only $6,000. And I look at the topsoil. I'm not a huge, you know, my dad was a farmer, but only for about 40 years. And so are my in-laws, but I don't see the topsoil as on a lawn as being a big thing. Typically, when you would thatch and rake and everything, you want to pull everything out and open that up, and you don't want to put something back down over it. You might put some, I mean, if it's a lawn, you might put some nitrogen treated bark dust, but if your lawn is healthy, you would want to do that. So I would recommend, unless we're going to hold it over to debate whether or not we want to have toilets and how many we want to have. And if we're going to do that, then we all need to get out there and take a look at the toilets. We need to see what's being used. We need to do an unscientific study, you know, as council persons. But I mean, I think Matt, as Public Works Director, has done an admirable job to say, listen, we can, for this year, we can do this. We can find 6,000 here. And, you know, I don't see the topsoil as a huge issue. Obviously, the fertilizer is a non-issue because it doesn't cover it. Doesn't even cover a third of it. You know, you could pull the fertilizer out and do the topsoil because, or part of the out of topsoil, so you're keeping part of the topsoil. But the nitrogen, again, anybody will tell you, any crop you put it on, it is going to burn it if you don't get enough water. It is going to burn it and kill it.
Yep.
You know, kill the growth anyway, the growth spurt. So that's where I would stand. Would be to
using the 6,000 budget for the topsoil, using it for that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or
Okay.
2,000 out of the nitrogen and 4,000 out of the soil. The $10,000 that we have budgeted for playgrounds.
Yeah.
Needs to be about 5 times that. About 10,000 is going to cover diddle. So don't kid yourself either to think that, oh, I got $10,000 in there, I'm looking out for the kids. It's not diddly.
Yeah.
When you know, come to buying playground equipment for a school, for a city or anything like that. I mean, I'd shudder to see what Jackson paid for that new ADA playground that they put in about 6 years ago right here. As you go up Jackson Street, it's on the left with the fall zones, the ADA fall zones.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, that's where I am, and I
Well,
yield.
Well, here's another thing to consider. I think we can look at, you know, bring a point that what you just said there. We can also, if we okay it to budget it through this means, and we do get some information or some different direction that maybe the county will, you know, help for this, we can amend this, correct? And change this, so it can get amended and changed if we get some funding or something that changes through the county or through somebody else, maybe we'll do that. So that's the other thing to look at, is it could be amended and we could change that. But it's, it's one way or the other. We can decide, we can say that, or we can just say, hold off. It's already in motion right now for at least a couple more months. So we can do that. So, Mr. Middleton, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Well, it's a what ifs with we go to the county. We don't know if they're
Exactly.
going to. It's like, yeah, they came to us because there was stuff going on in their parking lot. So we provided this because they're complaining about their parking lots being a mess. So we're covering the cost for their, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's our being inconvenience with what's going on in the city, or part of it falls on the county as well for a homeless problem. Who knows? It's a big debate. I don't think it's, it's not good. We're good with Paul. I don't think it's, scooting down the road, because you're talking about May. So we have May, June, July, August. We'll be back here again saying, okay, it's going to be September, October. We still don't have Foothill Drive. There's still homeless up there. We're going to need the porta potties. So I'm kind of leaning towards that we do use one of the line items that Matt has presented to us to just move forward with it. And I don't know if moving the one porta potty is going to make a difference. Cost, don't they give us a cost break on how many we have out there? Or is that not true? If we remove one, is it going to save us money? What?
Yeah, I'm not
$40?
exactly sure per, but it's $466.82 per month for the ones that are set now.
So
Yeah,
one,
we don't have a breakdown now of that, but I mean, they're generally running over $100 a piece for them.
How many do we have?
Four.
Oh, yeah.
Generally, like when we rent them, we're renting them as contractors, they're over $100 a month, so.
I mean,
When we rent them, I'm sorry, Kurt, when we rent them, we're not having to worry about, our guys don't worry about cleaning them.
yeah,
That's
sure.
Right.
No, I was saying it was if we remove the one, as you're talking about by the Lower Greenhorn, by the Bowhead Memorial Park, or it used to be the BMX park. Is it really cost savings, or they're saying, okay, because you did this many, it's this cost, but it's gonna be the same price. You have three. That's my question, I guess.
Okay.
Or is it $100 a month for that one?
But we were told that they're all being used, so.
Right.
Well, I heard they're being used, but then Dwayne said it wasn't being used.
It's
Is
not
that-
nowhere near as,
I'm
that
getting
one
two
now,
different.
since they,
I'm getting
since
two
that
different
camp got-
opinions.
yeah, since those trailers got cleared out of there, it's definitely not getting utilized nowhere near as much.
Aside from what the haulers relayed, that they're all being regularly used, your maintenance and operations manager, Benjamin Miller, relayed to me that he has seen a noticeable difference in the parks with this
Good.
problem
Okay.
because
Good.
of the four,
I say we,
if that helps.
we
Keep the
continue
four.
on and keep them, and because they're gonna be up there in the summertime, no matter if the bathrooms are open, the bathrooms close at a certain time anyways, right?
Right.
So we're gonna go at nighttime after.
Nighttime
They
is
close
closed
down.
anyways. Yep.
So I think we need to, as unfortunate is we pull some of the money from the line items
Okay.
and keep it going and not bring it back in May is my.
Okay, but if we don't bring it back and may I?
Yes, that's why I'm looking at you.
That's for the
If
year.
they don't bring it back and for discussion, and you're able to plead our case with the
I'll bring it
COC.
back.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back.
That's what my concern is. That's why I
Will not
put a
bring it-
drop dead time to make a decision in May, because that gives Dwayne plenty of time to approach COC. But as long as we can make an amendment, I'm okay
We can
with
make an
that.
amendment
Yeah.
on it, Yeah.
I don't want to touch the playground stuff.
Mhm.
We don't do enough for the kids in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
So,
And Jason, I don't know if you're looking like you wanted to add something.
No, nope. I think this is great conversation, and that was the intent, was when we spend money and it's not budgeted,
Yeah.
we have to make cuts.
We gotta be held accountable for it. Sure.
Well-
Joan?
Yeah, I agree with Debbie. If we could table this until May and then come back. If the toilets are being utilized, go forward. If they are not, if there's one that's not, that would save us $100 a month. But, that's pretty much up to you and Ben, Matt, don't you think? And Jason? I would like to see it come back and then we can make a decision at that time, but I agree with the mayor and everyone that I really don't want to see the funding cut back for the playgrounds. Even though Councilmember McCoy, you said $10,000 is nothing, I will tell you this, or what my opinion is that if something is broken and we have $10,000 to fix it, then I think we should keep that money. Like if a slide was broken or a piece was broken. I'm not talking about buying a new piece of equipment because I realize that would be much more probably than $10,000, but I'd hate to give away what little we do have. I think we need to keep the playgrounds for our kids.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, may I be clear? I didn't address taking anything out of the playground equipment. I just made the comment that.
Yes, no, absolutely.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. No, you're very clear that you didn't want to take it out of that. Very clear.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think any of us do. Thank you.
okay, so I think we got our own little things here. We need to make a decision, but I'm gonna now open it up for the public. 'Cause I know we have members of the public that would like to speak on this. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Paul.
Dawn Marie Autry. The one that's 50 Hudson Park. I'm the one who came and I was told by 4 different people that that dude, the one guy that's there now, was going to the bathroom in a bucket, going across the street, dumping it in the stream that goes right behind your house.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that. If he's
Yeah.
the only one that uses it, it's worth it. And another thing is that they're dumping them down the drains. And I know that they were, not now. Now they're actually using them.
Good.
So I believe that you do need to find out exactly how much is,
Yeah,
is it full.
yeah.
You need to do a study
Well,
and
we-
find out exactly.
I think for now, I think you're right. I think for now, I think we're all kind of in agreement for right now, leaving that one there too, just for now, and till we figure it out. and can
All
move
of them
forward.
until you actually get a place to put these people, because, before there was feces in the street up there, it was absolutely disgusting. And now it's not as bad.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to put up that expense. That's less money that needs to go to the P, but the other P, the pool, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Right, any other members of the audience? On Zoom? Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to the council then. And what is the wishes of the council?
So
I-
I think you would be you have 2 different motions that you can make here. One is to continue as is with the line items where they need to come from, and the other is to table this and bring it back in the first meeting of the month of May.
So I think at this point, my wish is to keep using it like we're doing right now, but to table it, I don't think May. I think we should up it a little bit sooner myself, bring it back in the second meeting of April. That way bring it forward a little bit sooner so we can move a little bit faster on it. 'Cause I think we can get some answers from the county by then. I really think that's not a problem, finding out if we can get some type of relief from them. Help, I should say, from them, not relief. Let me rephrase that, please. But
A shared
anyway,
responsibility.
yeah, see if they will take part of their responsibility. So that's my wishes. I don't know if any of the.
I agree.
So,
All right. So
nobody else? Okay.
Are we asking for a consensus or a motion?
yeah, I think we're asking for a motion then
Okay.
to basically table this item until the second meeting in April.
Correct.
Okay, this is Debbie
That's what
Baird. I will move that we table this for the second meeting of April to give time for discussion with the county.
I'll second it. This is Joan.
Okay, so we have a motion a second. Go through roll call. Paul McCoy.
Aye.
Okay. Corey Middleton.
Aye.
Okay. Joan Smith Freeman.
Aye.
Debbie Baird.
Aye.
And I, Dwayne King. Okay, so we will table this till the second week of April. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tell Ben, thank you for the information too.
Thank you, Rita.
Yes, thank you. All right, now we'll move on to public hearing part of this. All right, we're going to open this up for public hearing. This is a discussion on 2 parcels, and Mr. Ledbetter is going to explain to the public of what this is about. But this is actually a public hearing, which we have to do on any financial things of this sort of deal. So anyways, Mr. Ledbetter, would you explain to the public what's going on?
Yes, on November 2nd of 2021, the city council for the city of Yreka declared parcels 062-161-120 and 062-161-150 as surplus property. Both parcels are located on Campus Drive, adjacent to the Siskiyou County Public Health Building. The declared surplus paperwork was then sent to the California Department of Housing and Community Development, who agreed with the city council resolution defining the mentioned parcels as surplus. The California Department of Transportation has expressed interest in purchasing these 2 lots for a total revenue sum of $234,300 to the city of Yreka. The documents for this sale, including the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the sale documents, have been reviewed and approved by the city attorney. So, and I'll come up after the public hearing has completed, but staff recommends after the closure of the public hearing that a motion is made to adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase contract for real property located on Campus Drive and taking related actions.
Excellent, thank you. So clarification of this is next to behavioral health. This property is next to behavioral health, which is actually behind Caltrans property. So this property is directly behind Caltrans property. And that's obviously why Caltrans wants to purchase this property for future expansion and also for the Main Street project that they're going to be doing for the next couple of years. So it's obviously a valuable chunk of property for them. Really, for us as a city, doesn't have a huge financial impact, but it does give us some money. It's going to end up being a little chunk of change for the money to coming in for the city. So that's a good situation there. We're getting rid of a chunk of property that we have no use for at this point in time. And Caltrans can utilize it and hopefully do some expansion on their part of it. So I'm going to open up for the council for questions, and then I will open it up for the audience and public for questions. So right now it's for council though. Any questions from the council?
We've discussed it at length, so I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. We have discussed it. We have reviewed, we know what's going on, so I'm fine.
Okay. Joan, you have any comments?
I'm also fine with it. We've had a lot of discussion about it. I agree that I think it'll be a good fit for them, and I think it'll be good for us to get the funding back in the coffers.
Great. There's no other council comments. I'm going to open this up now for the public comment section of this hearing. So is there any public comments at this point in time about this? Comments or questions? Yes, please. I'm sorry, we have to go. I'm sorry. I've been getting in trouble. I've been letting the audience speak without going to the podium. The people on Zoom can't hear you is why.
That's right.
Sorry about that.
Joyce Tripp. Where does that 230? First of all, thank you so much. I don't know who did
Just that.
the lower greenhorn that got cleaned up. That is so nice.
Yep.
I am really grateful for that.
Yeah, thank our city staff and code enforcement and all, public works. They're doing a good job. They're cleaning things up.
Yeah, well, as one anyway, I am really thrilled. The 235, that's a nice big chunk of money. Can that be applied to the homeless situation?
So it goes doesn't that go, probably Red is probably a better one to ask, but this goes into the general fund.
That is, this should go into the general fund, and Retta, please correct me if I am incorrect.
Is that correct, Retta? Okay, yes, she says yes. So it goes into the general fund. So there is, that could be, I guess, directed to some of the stuff. Obviously, we have to bring it back up. But yeah, if it goes in the general fund, it could go to the porta potties, I would think, right? At that point in time.
We run a budget here where we run a 2-year budget. And
Right.
so the state mandates that we run an annual budget. So we come back and by July 1st, on the first day of the fiscal year, we would have a new budget. So we would basically be moving into next fiscal year. We already have pretty much an approved 2-year budget. So if a line item is not budgeted for, then we would just be, this money would be retained. And then at some point, they would need to appropriate that money for a specific cause and request that we then take money from fund balance to apply it towards a specific project. So until that's done, this money is essentially off the table because it's not a revenue line item in our budget. It is an unexpected revenue item, if that makes any sense.
Well, all I know is it just seems like this homeless thing has been dragging on for a long, long time. So when I hear $235,000, my ears just like, let's do something with the homeless thing.
Yep.
My thought.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
Thank you. All righty. So I think it's, like you said, it could be put onto the next budget though, right? Or something, and in July, when we go over the next budget. I know you have a two-year budget thing, but we also could, just like we're doing now, amend part of the budget and say that this could be added to it, correct?
Absolutely. You guys can make the decision at any point, at any meeting, requesting this specific money, or essentially, even with this money coming in, you're technically then dipping into what we would call fund balance or reserves.
Okay, right. So it could be in the near future directed to something like that, though. That's why I wanted to clarify. So thank you. Okay, any members of the audience or the public have any more comments on this? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public section of this hearing and open it back up to the council. What is the council's wishes?
Have we seen, this is Councilman McCoy, have we seen the contract? Because we've looked at this contract several times. Have we seen an amended and final contract for this?
Yes, it's in your packet, and the title exceptions, including the utility easements and boundary discrepancy, have been resolved.
Okay. For me, I would prefer to, I like the discussion tonight. I'd prefer to hold off and vote at the next meeting. That would be my preference as a councilman. Just because we've expended so much time on this, and we do need, I think it's probably something that needs to go back into closed session.
Oh,
Is there more concerns? I'm sorry, is there more concern or something?
Always a concern when we've had this much back and forth without going into what we've done in closed session.
Oh,
There's always a concern from a legal standpoint, I think. And is Don on the phone with us?
no, he's not tonight.
Yeah, there's always a concern from a legal standpoint, because the big thing is making sure we're not taken advantage of.
I can get Don on the phone if we want to answer some questions now. I mean, I'm not trying to.
No, but
I'm just saying I
think
can.
these are closed session questions. That's all I'm saying. So, I support the sale. I just am concerned about the document.
Okay.
and Don came to this conclusion. This was a negotiation after those closed session items that Don came to this final contract with Caltrans. And then I will also remind the council whether or not we choose to believe the timelines of the state is that this document from their standpoint needs to be executed, and will actually be scheduled to be picked up from me tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
And I'm actually prepared to go on.
Yes, Joan.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Debbie. Did you make a motion?
I said
No.
I'm prepared to vote on it. I was waiting to,
Right. I'm prepared to make a motion if we need to, but I'll wait until the time is right.
Because
yes.
I don't think there is, I heard Paul saying, but I don't think there was any change in the contract. What we discussed those two items and we bounced it back to Caltrans, and they said, okay,
Mhm.
that stands, so it hasn't changed. they went forward with what we agreed on those two items that we rejected. So I think the contracts as what we submitted to them. So I don't change. I think it's what we saw
Minus the lease.
Minus the lease.
on the one parcel.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Still
Like I said,
have
I'm supportive of this. I
Minus the lease, right?
Again, going back to it, Caltrans's inability to work with us isn't our issue. And that's just me, right?
Yeah.
That's not our, their inability to get their stuff together in a timely fashion does not constitute an emergency from us at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And I'm not trying to be mean.
No,
I'm
it's
just
true. You're right.
being honest,
Yeah, you're right.
But we've
No.
been on it for months, so that's why I'm comfortable.
We knew about this date a long time ago, Mr. Mayor, and I would love to make the motion if I could to approve this, to approve the sale of this property as presented with the appropriate changes and the approval of our attorney and our city manager.
That's clear enough. So go ahead.
Councilman Middleton, I will second the motion to move forward with the sale.
Alrighty, we have a motion and a second. I will do roll call. Paul McCoy.
I'm going to vote aye. I do have concerns that I don't have about a larger institution bullying a smaller institution. I'm going to make that clear, but I support this. I'm just concerned even still about the language
Yeah.
because I haven't had enough time for, to go through
To
it
review it.
as I like to do.
Joan Smith Freeman,
Aye.
Corey Middleton again.
Aye.
Debbie Baird.
Aye.
And I, Dwayne Kay. Are onto, new business here. Right. Yep.
And
Discussion.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I can just get you guys to make another motion on
Yes.
B to adopt the resolution.
Yes, Mayor.
Oh, yes.
This is Debbie Baird. I'd like to make the motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase contract for real property located on Campus Drive and taking related actions.
I, Dwayne, second it.
Okay.
Roll call. Joan Smith Freeman,
Aye.
Paul McCoy,
Aye.
Corey Middleton,
Aye.
Debbie Baird,
Aye.
and I, Dwayne Kay. Second part of that we had to do.
Oops, I didn't see.
Thank you, Jason, for catching that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now we'll go on to new business.
I moved down already.
I know. Discussion possible action, human resources, adopt a resolution by the council of the city of Yreka approving agreement for the services between the city of Yreka Regional Government Services and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary agreements for the compensation study. Yes, John.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
members of the council. So I'm here tonight to review the staff report for the compensation study. And just to give a recap of the process, the RFP was issued December 22nd, 2021, and proposals were due on February 11th, 2022. We received 2 proposals from qualified firms, one being Cops and Associates and the other being Regional Government Services. Both proposals include a detailed work product that could probably achieve or that could achieve the same results required by the city. After looking at the evaluation criteria, we consider cost, references, timeline, and we looked at the work product. There's actually a evaluation criteria attached that gives some objective reasons why we went with, or why we're proposing to go with Regional Government Services. So that said, I believe Regional Government Services to be the better choice as outlined. I think it'll provide more value for the city. One of the benefits of RGS was also that it was lower. It came in at 25,800, and we originally talked about approving $25,000 for the fund or for the proposal. The other bid came at 38,000, so significantly more, difference of 12,200. Let's see. Once we have a signed professional services agreement with Regional Government Services, we can start the week of March 7th. And with the tentative date to submit the project by June 6th. So I can report back to council when the project is completed. Having this report in a timely manner will also be beneficial with utilizing during contract negotiations. We'll be able to break down all the different forms of compensation, whether it be pension, deferred comp, health insurance premiums, all that. So with that said, is there any questions on the staff report?
So I'm gonna open up to the council, questions, comments. That's it.
Bless you.
Two.
Sir, I'm good.
I would comment that I think John Elsnev has done done his due diligence. I think he's done a good job at researching these, and they're not great reading. They're not really fun.
No, I can't imagine.
And regardless of the price, I would trust, I appreciate that you're looking out monetarily, but I trust his judgment at this point in time. So I thank you for what you've done.
Appreciate it. We have a great team. I
Yes,
hope
we
so.
do.
And your team, yes.
Real lucky. Real lucky. Thank you. Corey, you have any comment?
No, I echo. I hear what Mr. McCoy says and I agree with him. That's
Awesome.
totally.
Joan, any comments?
It looks good. Thank you, John, and your team. Good work.
Thank you.
Well, this is one of these things that'll help the city as a whole, by doing this, it's gonna help with financial impacts all the way around, so it'll help. So Debbie,
I know, if everybody's ready, I'll make the motion.
okay. Oh, I gotta open it up to the public.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
All right, I'm gonna open it up to the public as at this point. Any questions, comments, concerns? Close it to the public and open it back up for recommendations.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we adopt a resolution by the City Council of the City of Yreka approving agreement for the services between the City of Yreka and Regional Government Services and authorize the city manager to execute the necessary agreements for the compensation study.
It's a mouthful. Mr. Mayor, this is Councilman McCoy. I'd like to second Councilwoman Baird's
All right.
motion.
Awesome. We have a motion and a second. I'll do roll call. Joan Smith Freeman,
Aye.
Paul McCoy,
Aye.
Corey Milton.
Aye.
Debbie Baird, and I, Dwayne King. All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks again, John.
We'll go now into city manager staff reports. Mr. Ledbetter.
Not quite as tall as John, so thank you.
Nobody is.
So yes, my Jason Ledbetter, city manager. Tomorrow, there will be the Continuum of Care Siskiyou County Advisory Board meeting. It starts at 1:30 and runs until 3 p.m. That is in the Red Oak Room of Behavioral Health at 2060 Campus Drive. Obviously, our mayor is the chair of that board. And I will be there, and I believe Chief Gilman will be there as well, representing Yreka, where we have a number of topics, two of them on the agenda, a warming shelter and an all-age shelter, to see if we can hash out a long-term plan for an all-age shelter and to see if we can get support for our plan of the warming shelter for staff. The assistant city manager, Retta, is scheduling a finance committee meeting later in March. She will be in contact with the two council members that normally participate in that to get that scheduled. I met with the park host and the director of public works, and we'll be working with HR and public works on either an extension or flying to fill the position based on a meeting that we will have in the future and looking at the policy that was drafted by the council for that position. I attended the Rotary meeting on 2/16. Met with multiple businesses concerning the new shopping cart ordinance as well. Pool discussion meeting was held on 2/23. We have operational costs thanks to Emily, our finance director, and we're planning on having maintenance projections by the 3/10 meeting. The next step is to take those costs to the finance committee and then to council for direction. I am hoping for March. I am asking Carrie from Caltrans to present the Highway 3 project to the city council at a future meeting. If that is appropriate, let me know. I think that that would be helpful, not only for council, but really for staff as well, to see where we currently stand on the betterment and the Clean California grant options that were provided with that project. Toured Greenhorn with the Director of Public Works to better understand some of our desired maintenance projects. Bridges and historical buildings were the focus. If things are not currently line item budgeted and we do want to move forward with anything out of the ordinary, that will all come back to council to make that determination. But just kind of familiarizing myself with Greenhorn and where things currently stand. The city clerk is getting a quote on a city seal to be hung right behind you guys on the back wall of the council. Obviously, you saw that we moved the flags to kind of frame the council. And we are working on updating our clock. I tried winding it earlier, it did not work for me. And we will soon have a large timer behind you for the 5-minute public comment period. Chief Gilman has provided me with some information based off of the really cold weather that we had and the decision to house people during that time frame with the voucher system that we currently have in place. So YPD issued 7 vouchers. They did end up turning 3 individuals away, but they turned those 3 individuals away due to them having the resources, either money, and that the temperature had flipped over and was coming back, I guess, into slightly livable conditions. During that process, the motels were nearly full. However, they were able to, every voucher they gave out did get a room. And at one point, the city was down to 1 available room for rent. Chief Gilman and his team, they fielded several phone calls regarding the voucher system and people asking how they can get one. The night that it filled up with the last hotel vacancy, they developed more plans if more people arrived in need. They were planning on calling surrounding hotels to utilize the voucher system slightly out of town. And they also allowed people to rest in the lobby of the police department. The sheriff's department gave several cases of military issue wool blankets the night that the rooms were running out. So the voucher system, I think, as everybody is familiar with, is generally for emergencies for family in need. Using them to house our current unhoused or homeless population is obviously not a long-term solution, and I think we're all very aware of that. But I think this just speaks to the fact that we need to seek a long-term solution, which we are attempting to do, the mayor and myself, tomorrow through the COC, and to start that conversation. As we saw at the last meeting, we have a lot of options and a lot of interest from the council to provide some aspect of a resolution, but now we need partnership. And so just to reiterate, I think everybody, staff is reiterating that the voucher system that we used is a short-term solution. So that's all I have. Thank you.
I just want to thank you for being proactive as you are, being proactive in this homeless situation. It's really nice to have you, hands-on and wanting to be involved in it. And I definitely want to thank the police department, Chief Gilman, and their involvement in that. It was a big endeavor, and I thank you for taking that on and getting out there and hands-on yourself of getting out there and letting them know that it's available and helping these individuals out. We thank you for everything. Much appreciated. So thanks, you guys. Anybody else on staff you have?
I think we're just sticking with me tonight.
Okay. All right, then I will move it to the council then. Paul McCoy.
I want to recognize Sue Franklin. She's probably going to get mad at me. We worked together for years. That was her husband that is instrumental in getting the Arastra up and done, and there's a beautiful bench out there. But Sue, thank you. It's a wonderful memory of David.
Yes.
I want to thank Steve Radford. What a fabulous job, Steve, you did. No, you did.
Yes.
I'm the one that was complaining about the
Statue.
gazebo. Fabulous
gazebo,
job.
yeah.
Thank you very, very much for donating your time and materials and everything. It's
Yep, much
really-
appreciated. Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely,
Well, that
absolutely.
his spirit is seen, is felt out there. So
It
thank you
is.
very much, Steve.
He's a greatly loved and missed man, and we appreciated everything. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You put your money where your mouth is, and I thank you for that. So
Absolutely.
good. I want to thank Matt and Jason for getting together with me on Friday so we could go out and take a look at the park, Greenhorn, and talk about long-term master planning for our park systems. I'm happy to see the car washes coming along well. The RVs is coming along well, and that the credit union is going to be opening the third week of this month. And I want I'm going to make a statement that, I know all politics is local, but my thoughts and my prayers are with the Ukrainian people as they flee the country and as they are involved in a fairly large military conflict.
Yeah,
So, thank you.
scary. Scary for everybody. That's for sure. Mr. Middleton?
Okay, so make it short. Well, I'm just starting getting back into things after, everybody knows the passing of my father. So I'm just getting back to work and getting back to city business and whatnot. But I want to recognize the police department. And also, there was an incident in front of my house a few days ago in Marksbury where our police were so lucky. They have such patience. This guy, I think, had his car towed, and the gentleman called the animal control officer, and I don't know what officer was out there, every name in the book, cussed at him, brutal names, and they stood there just patient, listening to, where most people would just fly off the handle. They just stood there and listened, took it, patience and professionalism. So we're very lucky to have the police we have, because it was unruly and embarrassing to hear that language is in front of kids in the apartment complex and just the neighborhood. This guy was off the hook. So we're really lucky to have their patience and the police we have. And then I had a water leak. And so the water main, I was hoping, all of a sudden I see the fire truck and chief in front of my house. And I'm like, oh no, tell me someone didn't fall through the water main. They didn't put the main back on the sidewalk. I'm panicking here. So I walk out and I said, Jerry, what's going on? And a friend of my neighbor's friend's van caught on fire. And this is our police. They had young kids. It was freezing cold out. They gave the citizens a ride up to my neighbors so they wouldn't be in the cold. So they gave him a ride in the fire truck and then the chief to bring him next door. So that's the type of service we have in our town. And I'm very proud to be sitting here as a city council member, but as a citizen, just it's great to see. So anyways, I'm getting back into things. So I'll probably have more to report down the road as I focus on my next project. Talking about the kids, I saved the skateboard park. I'm hoping to get back into another project soon. Everybody has their niche. I feel that we have good care with the homeless between you guys. I'm involved, but I'm going to be searching out my next community project for our youth. And so stay tuned on that. Have some ideas from some citizens. So thank you.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Corey. Joan? You got to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Okay, so I will have a report for you. I attended the 24th and 25th, which is last Thursday and Friday, the League of California Cities State Directors Meeting that was held in Walnut Creek. And so I have all the paperwork here, and that doesn't do you very much good there, but I'll have a detailed report for you in the near future. But that was, I've had several other meetings, but that was the main one. I just wanted to let you know I'll be giving you a full report on that.
Thanks, Joan.
Just two things real briefly. A reminder that Wainema Hall has their open house on March the 12th from 1 to 4. And it's just to come and view the remodeled kitchen and facilities there. I'm on the Friends of the Fair board with the president, Corey, over there. And we are very proud of being able to make that happen. It was a major project, and
It's beautiful.
yeah, phase 1 and phase 2, we committed for a lot, and it's a nice facility that we hope will be used for quite a while, quite a few years in the future. And the other thing is I had a meeting with C2C last week in Weed, and we are actually applying for a grant, a technical grant for the relief map that's at the location. And if you haven't been up to the Collier Interpretive and Information Center, the rest stop. I invite you to go because it is a really nice place to be, and that the staff there is all volunteer, except for the site manager. But everybody is always friendly and happy to go through there. And remember, 1.2 million people a year go there. So it's actually well received from travelers, which is what it's there for. But they're doing great. We're looking forward to what, like $15,000 to $20,000 grant just for the
Good.
relief map, because it will be able to show historical films that have been filmed in Siskiyou County, like the floods and the fires and all of that. So it's going to be on a loop thing. It's very interesting. So
That's cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
it's just a neat place too. I don't know if
It is.
anybody's, if everybody's ever went there just to sit down and have lunch when it's a nice sunny day. It's a
beautiful.
beautiful place
Mhm.
just to watch, kick along the river and just watch the river flow. It's just, it's beautiful. It really is. Whole park system there is. We're just so blessed, period, to have all the parks and areas we have in Siskiyou County, even though I know a lot of it burned up, but we're so fortunate here in Yreka especially. I mean, how many places can you go in California, in a small populous city like we are, 7,800 people, and have as many parks as we do? We're blessed to have that. And we thank our city staff, our public works and stuff for maintaining those parks and stuff, because they're beautiful. They really are. We're just really lucky. But I'm not much for me to add. Like I said, we have our meeting tomorrow. I still don't have the final numbers from the point in time count. We'll have them hopefully soon. I got to get those numbers. Actually, we got numbers, but they're not finalized yet. So I don't want to share them yet till we get them all finalized. Those, it will come out, I think, next week. I have my big meeting for the 7 counties in the North State. So we should have those numbers for everybody's, for Shasta County, Sierra, Plumas, all those guys, and all their numbers that they have and stuff. Ours are probably going to, unfortunately, or unfortunately, I don't want to, how do you want to say it, view it, are going to be probably a little lower than normal, even though it seems like our population of homelessness has gone up in Siskiyou County. We had some challenges achieving those numbers through the volunteers and just thing came about because of COVID, unfortunately. We had a number of people that were out from behavioral health at that point in time that were supposed to get some numbers, and they were unable to achieve some of those numbers, unfortunately. But there'll still be quite a few numbers. Like I said, however you view it, good or bad, it's good to get as many numbers as we can. So if there's any funding available, we can get that. But it's also nice to see that the Karuk tribe stepped up to the plate during that cold spill that we had during the point in time count. They, Karuk tribe actually housed probably at least 20 individuals through vouchers and stuff, and put them in motel rooms. So it was neat to see that they actually stepped up to the plate too. And that's something for us to actually have a further conversation and seeing if maybe we can get them to be participants in this homelessness and stuff too. There is actually a number of individuals from the Karuk tribe that are homeless and have that situation. So hopefully we can get them. It sounds like they are willing participants. They actually in the past donated $100,000 to the Beacon of Hope. So they've actually participated in a lot of avenues. So we'll see what they do. They're actually one of the members of the Karuk tribe is actually on our COC board now. So that'll actually open up some conversations at our meetings now to hopefully maybe they can be involved in it. So that's good to see. Quick question, back to the shopping cart ordinance. I know you went around and spoke with a lot of the places. What was your response? I mean, what was their response, I should say?
I have a lot of faith in Rayleigh's,
Okay.
and I'll leave it at that.
So we'll see what happens on our ordinance. I know I was out at the city yard Sunday and counted it, and I sent a text to Debbie, so she knew how many we have. We have currently Walmart shopping carts. We have 140 Walmart shopping carts out there. That was as of Sunday.
It's gone down.
30 Rayleigh shopping carts, 7 Rite Aid shopping carts, and 4 Harbor Freight shopping carts out there. So there's still quite a number of carts out there. Walmart did snag a bunch of them because we had at one point in time an upwards of almost 300 out
Yeah,
there.
so they went down.
Yeah, so they have gotten some of them, but hopefully if we can get this ball rolling, I'm not gonna have to report on 140 shopping carts out there anymore. So we'll see how this ordinance works and hopefully it does start working. I've noticed that, I don't know if they're being more active or what, but I haven't noticed as many shopping carts around town. I know Willow's working diligently, so maybe it's just a figment of my imagination, but I know she's working hard, very hard at that. And I want to, like I said, I want to thank her and the PD because, I mean, man, if it wasn't for them, the PD and Willow Code Enforcement, our town would be a mess right now with all the shopping carts and trash and everything else. So, thank them for jumping up there and doing that. But hopefully this ordinance will start curing that so we don't have to use so much staff time and out of our budget to resolve this problem. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
I'm really surprised there hasn't been an entrepreneur out there to create a business to pick up the carts.
Well, I think that they're waiting for it to get up and go. And I know there's a couple individuals that did express their
Mhm.
wanting to do that. So hopefully they can start utilizing that and make a business out of it, I guess. Open up another business
Need
aspect.
to pay. Once they start, the stores have to pay, then they'll.
Yeah.
Well, When
Yeah.
when would Walmart be, like, let's say that they have they don't pick any up, but they only have 140 out there. When would we start?
I don't know. That's something we'll have to.
The process right now is that they have a timeline to come in and get a permit. It's a free permit with the code enforcement officer. And so we're at that process at the moment. And then from there, there's very specific terms in the ordinance that they have to meet. And I think it was 30 carts within a certain time period. If those show up at the yard, then that permit and that agreement needs to be altered. And so at this point, the hope is that there's so many of these ordinances around the United States that the cart manufacturers eventually will start making them so that the wheels are locking. That is, I think, the intent, because inevitably, I think it's 4 years, and that's the requirement for us here in the city of Yreka, is that there has to be a lock system in place.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Appreciate you going out and about and actually, hand delivering and talking to these managers and stuff like that. To me, that means a lot, knowing that they had a face-to-face talk with you and not just a letter or a phone call or an email or something. That means more to have a personal touch. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if that, I say meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.